Hello to our YouTube followers, pray.com. We are so glad that you are here. You know it's going to be a good day and God's got a good word. We're dreaming on the daily with him. Let us dive in. This morning, we are going to be talking about vision. Do you see what I see? Vision, 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 vision. That's what we're talking about. Name of the game, vision. And I'm going to invite you into greater levels of vision. And I'm going to ask you just to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show of what is vision? Why do we need it? Check in to see if you've got it. So here's how vision goes. If anyone knows my husband, Travis Gentry, he's a man of few words. Yet, if you're around him for any length of time, it's very apparent that this guy just looks at the world very differently than the rest of us. And we are up in Estes Park for the weekend. And mountains tend to be some of my favorite places to be with my husband because when you look around at the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mountains and landscapes, you're like, man, this is awesome. But when you're with Travis, looking at the same mountains and beautiful landscape, you look at him and you swear he sees something different. So we're going to talk about today. For many of us, we're walking around in this incredible landscape and beautiful, glorious world. And we see what we see, right? And then there's just a few who, through their eyes and through their lens, you would go, man, do they see something different than I see? Right? Like they're what they're looking at seems to appear different. How they view this seems to look different. And so yesterday I'm with Travis and we're on this incredible bridge and he's looking at the landscape and I too am partaking and I'm like, dang, this is amazing and it's so beautiful. And so I turn to him and I say, what are you looking at? And he just pauses. And at first I'm like, maybe he's frustrated at the fact that I'm asking him, what are you looking at? So what are you looking at? And he doesn't respond. So I said to him, what do you see? And he says, God. And I said, you see God? And he says, God is in everything. God is everywhere. He's all that I see. God is in everything. He is in everywhere we go. And so then the quote from Henry David Thoreau pops into my mind, which is not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. For me, what I was looking at was the mountains and the streams and the rivers and the beautiful. For Travis, he was seeing God in everything, which explains why what he sees does look different than what I was looking at. What I was looking at was the forest and the trees and the river, all beautiful. But what Travis saw was God in all of those things. And so the way he looked at it changed, not because the physical landscape changed, but because of what he actually saw changed the awe in which he looked at the exact same picture. And so I come to each one of you today and I say, it's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see. Because for some of you, you're a little bit more like my son, Nixon, who I'm putting my daughter Roxy to bed last night. And anyone who knows when you're putting a toddler to bed, you're like, don't wake the baby, right? So the door is shut and I'm getting ready to put her to bed. And all of a sudden I hear this. And you're like, what part of don't wake the baby do you not understand? So I'm like, buddy, Nixon. So I open the door. I'm like, buddy, what do you need? He's like, my tennis shoes. All I could do was like look down at the very base of the door. His shoes were at the base of the door. Yet he's knocking on the door as though they are somewhere other than literally right in front of him. Mm. So I come to each one of you today and I want to know, Is it more important what you're looking at or ultimately what you see? Because here's what the Bible says in Isaiah 43:18. And I think this is ultimately what I think God is wanting all of us to hear today is forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. But here's what God says is, do you not perceive it? Some of us were looking at the mountains and the river. We're knocking on the door, but we're not actually seeing God in everything. And I would like to propose that God in everything changes all the things that we look at. And I think that's what happens to each one of us when we're looking at circumstances. We're looking at the temporal, we're looking at the here and now, we're looking at the loss, we're looking at the devastation, we're looking at the thing that's right in front of us. And I want each one of us to do the Isaiah 43:18 and not to focus so much on what we're looking at, but to be paying more attention to what we actually see. Because if we're not careful, our narrative of the past can be thrown onto our present and our future. The obstacles and the pain of yesterday can be thrown on the purest potential and prophetic words of God. And so what happens is we get so caught up in our narratives and we're overlooking the fact that he is right in front of us doing a new thing in everything. And we're not going to see all the things that he's doing. This is what it looks like to have vision. Put on your vision goggles. This is what I always tell my kids. They got vision goggles. We literally do an exercise to where we go, okay, great. These are the things that I can see with my very tactical, practical eyes. And we get very, very grounded in the fact that we do live in reality and we are human. And what I see is an obstacle, what I see is a problem, what I see is I don't actually know the answer. And then we will, as family, we will literally like this and go, okay, but what does God see here? Do you know that actually practicing seeing what he sees is the practice in the prophetic? The prophetic realm is less about forecasting and more about calling back to the original design of the way that God has had it planned, predestined from the very beginning of time. And so when we start to put on our prophetic lenses, our vision of heaven, we can look at the same things, but see something very, very, very different. What Isaiah is speaking to, what we find in the book of Isaiah, what it's speaking to here is it says, I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Some of us just go, I don't want to be in the wilderness. I don't want to be in the wasteland. And so we get so mad. We're so mad at where we are that we can't prophesy to what's in front of us. Say that again. Some of us are so mad that we're in the wilderness and then we're in the wastelands and we start to question who God is and the character of who he is, that all we can focus on is what we're looking at, as opposed to taking that exact same energy and starting to prophesy over what we see, recognizing that, wait, he's going to make a way in the wilderness and he's going to make streams in the he's going to make a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland for me. And I'm going to partner with the prophetic. I'm not going to partner with my doubt. I'm not going to partner with the worry. I'm not going to partner with what the liar is saying. I'm going to partner with the prophetic. I'm going to partner with the promises of God. Because here's the deal. We're going to partner one way or another. This is not a mute point. And so what we see is so important. I want you to train yourself to see God in everything. I want you to train yourself to see God in the mountains and the rivers, in the deserts, in the valleys, in the wasteland, in the wilderness, on the top of the highest of high. What it is for me is, what if we had eyes to see what he was actually doing so we could simply partner with him in all the ways, and at some level, look at the world the way that my husband does, which is as simple as saying, Travis, what are you looking at? He's like, oh, honey bunny, it's not what I look at that matters. It's what I see. And what I see is God in everything, in all the things. This is what it means to walk in vision. So here's what I want you to do today. I want you to forget the former things. Write that down. Do not dwell on the past. Write that down. See, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? This has nothing to do with God and everything to do with us. I think we put so much on, well, God, you wouldn't let bad things happen, and God this and God that, and we blame him for something that just isn't his. And so instead of looking at what he's not doing based upon our will, our way, our time, what if we paused and just said, okay, I want to perceive what he's doing. Let's not be Nixon, the shoes at the front of the door. Let's be very aware that God has put our shoes at the front of the door, and all he wants us to do is to grab them, put them on our feet, and rock and roll, because he is. Like, he is making a way in your wilderness. He is providing a stream in your wasteland. So yes, you could see the wilderness. Yep, you could just see the wasteland, or you could see the way that he's making, and you could see the stream in the wasteland. Please do not be one of those people who just sits and hunkers down in the wilderness and the wasteland, blaming God when he's actually given you provision. It just might not be in the way that you thought. Be a people. Be a people who sees the way, not the wilderness, the stream, and not the wasteland. Because don't you think if you started to follow the way in the wilderness, that you would find the promised land? Don't you think that if you followed the stream in the midst of the wasteland, that you would find the ocean? I'd like to propose to you that the answer is yes. So yes, you can hunker down. Yes, you can be mad. Yes, you can stay put. Yes, you can be in the wilderness and the wasteland your entire life, but I don't suggest it. I suggest you find his way, you find his stream, you follow it with your whole heart, and you let him usher you into the greatest promise over your life. But you're going to have to partner with the prophetic, because it's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see. Okay? Now, couple things I want to remind you. Yes. I want to remind you of 3 things. Number 1, I want you to join me every single morning here at 8:30 Central Standard Time, as I want to give you some spiritual tools to approach life. We live in a very practical, tactical world where we could Google our way through anything, and yet we don't. Why? Because we actually do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, powers of darkness of this world that want to take you out from your greatest place of purpose. Now, if you are wanting to get in the gap of your miracle, though, and you're wanting to partner with what God is doing, and you want your life to be a life that reflects, I want to dream bold, lead big, and make an impact, then you're joining me here every morning for our 54-day challenge, where we are going to get in the gap of our miracle. And we are going to be people who use spiritual tools to overcome. On top of that, number 2 is you might find yourself today going, preach, JG. Well, we are going to be preaching. We are launching our online church, Dream Church Online, June 29th, and we want you to join us. And this Thursday, the 30th at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we are doing an informational meeting, and I want to invite you. So if you want to learn more about our church, if you want to partner with us in prayer, if you want to partner with us in financial giving, if you want to start a home group, if you're just curious about what God is doing through this ministry, or the insane shift that has happened in my life over this last year, I would love for you to join us. Again, it's going to be this Thursday, May 30th at 5 p.m. Central Mountain Standard Time. You can go to dreamchurchonline.org to sign up. Please sign up. We would love to share our hearts, to share what God is doing, and to get you involved at any level. Again, if you are looking to take your relationship with God even higher, you're wanting to mature in the Lord, you're like home group. What did you just say? Right? Or you have just followed long enough to recognize that you love the message that God is using in and through my life. I want to invite you. Go to dreamchurchonline.org. Sign up for that free informational session. My team is going to join you. Dreamers from across the country are going to be joining you. It's going to be incredible. And then, of course, every single day, we want to encourage you to share this video with one person. Today, I want you to actually think about the one person that you've been in a conversation, and they're just really focused on all the things around them. They're not seeing God in everything, and that's okay. That doesn't make any one of us crazy, and sometimes that can be challenging to do. But you know this person needs to see God in everything, in all the things. Go ahead and forward this video to this one person who needs this encouraging word, needs to be reminded to put on their faith goggles to see with greater vision what God is doing to find the way in the wilderness and the streams in the wasteland. All righty? So until we meet again, have a great day. See you later.